Okay, we are live to YouTube, so it's time to start the show. Those joining live can ask questions. When it's finished, it will all be packaged up and put out to everybody on all the forums, so you can see what we've learned today. But like any show, we have to start with our theme tune. So, band, take it away.
Here's a strong first draft anthem for the Zoom community forums and the new Zoom community live sessions. Hey. Come on. Someone's got a question. Someone's stuck today. A setting disappeared somewhere. A meeting went astray. They type it in the forum, hoping someone sees. Then voices from the community bring answers with the keys. Not just a help desk, not just a screen. It's people helping people with every tool between. Zoomers, users, hosts, and guides all standing side by side. When we share what we know, the whole room comes alive. We're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Hey! Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving, helping ideas thrive. So raise your hand, jump in the room. There's always more to learn. In the Zoom community, we help the whole world turn. Sometimes words are not enough. A screenshot shows the way. Sometimes it takes a live walkthrough to make the problem fade. The forum starts the story. The live room brings the spark. From how do I fix this to now I've hit the mark. Employees with the product, users with a need, champions with experience, all helping others lead. No one knows it all alone. That's why we gather here to listen, learn, and pass it on with answers loud and clear. Yeah, we're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving, helping ideas thrive. So raise your hand, jump in the room. There's always more to learn. In the Zoom community, we help the whole world turn. From meetings to webinars, events and rooms as well. From where's that button to stories we can tell. Every question matters, every answer grows, because the more we share it, the more the community knows. We're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Hey! Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving.
Hello, welcome to the Zoom Community Live Series 2. And I still don't know how to follow that theme tune. But it's Saturday. Yep, our new time. Let's explain what's going to happen. This is a live show, so it's probably going to go wrong a few times as I'm sharing stuff and doing things. But the whole idea is, if you're here live, you can ask questions in YouTube, on the Community Live YouTube channel, or who are hiding out here, you can ask as well. And that's where we lose the camera. You see, I told you it's live. So what we're going to do is that camera just clicked off a bit shorter than I wanted, because what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some of the basic things, because there are so many questions we're getting from you guys about things. Are they possible? And the truth is, so many things have changed in just the basic Zoom Workplace app and the setting up of meetings that you're missing features that are there already waiting for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the computer over there, and we're going to have a look at how you set up a meeting and show you all the little options that you may have missed, or the ones that you may have ignored because you had no idea what they were. So let's flip over to that screen and we'll have a look through. So here I have my other account. No, I think this is my demo account set up to show my Zoom website. So most of you are going to start up here on profile. And the two areas you want to be able to find quickly are scrolling all the way down. See, I'm at the top here, scrolling all the way down to settings, because if you need things to work that aren't working for some reason, settings the first place you go. Now, for those people that own an account, there is another settings in the admin section, but for users, your settings are here. But if your admin has changed settings below, then your settings will be made different. And what I mean by that is, if they disable something, you can't override them. They have a God status. If you're the account holder, you've got both the admin sections and the main settings sections. So we will be talking about any settings in the user settings. But if you're an admin, or if the option's not there, when you look in here, you need your admin to go and do the same relevant part. As you can see, the settings are set up by all the apps, and crikey, there's a lot of them now. Just amazing range of things that we can do in Zoom. But we're interested in the things that happen in Zoom meeting. So we're going to go through these, but we're also going to go through this page where we schedule meetings. So again, from the profile, a couple of clicks further down, we got meetings. I've clicked on that, and that shows you the meetings I have. This is my demo account, so it's usually quite empty. We're going to start with what happens when you schedule a meeting. So if you have your meeting questions, or you have some questions about how you set up your meeting, now is the time to put that in the chat. There will be a few seconds delay before it goes to YouTube, so I may take a few seconds to see chat messages. But if I put your questions in now, you will all understand that I'm saying it, and it will take a few seconds for you to see it, and it will take a few more seconds for me to see it back, but it doesn't matter, because what we're interested in is using this scheduler, and you can catch me up with the questions. So don't worry about that pop-up. That's because I have changed passwords and it wants me to change passwords. So this is the screen that you guys will see. I have zoomed it in to make it easier to see, so it is a bit bigger than usual, which is why it doesn't fit on my page as well as it used to. But the first thing, of course, is your meeting topic. And this is important. Please don't leave it as my meeting all the time. This is very important for one simple reason. If anyone receives invites or content about the meeting, this is what they're going to read. You can also add a description. So let's do this properly. Here's your cursed meeting. And I'll know what it is. And then I can set the date. I can set the time. Now, remember, again, my pop-up program keeps thinking we're changing passwords. So one of the nice things is if you use a product like Calendly, look, it actually comes in and helps me correct my typing, which is excellent. Because this is just a web page, you see, isn't it? We set the date, we set the time. Now, the most important thing about this is the when has two major things to talk about. The first one is, what date and time is this? This is always your personal date and time. Now, I often run events, including this one, where I'm getting people from all over the world. So I have to be very conscious of when I'm setting the date and time. This is the date and time for me. What is the date and time for people in the States? I'm in the UK, so there are 5 to 8 hours between different people in the States to me. What's the difference between me and Europe's about an hour. If I go to India, Australia, Japan, anywhere else, the time zone is going to change, but the time zone I'm setting is my time zone. And I'm making a big point of this because most of my shows and content, I usually talk about Eastern time, US, as my sort of fundamental time zone that I do organize everything around. But of course, every time I create an event or a meeting or a webinar in Zoom, I'm doing it in my UK time still, because you see, there's my time zone. So I have to remember that if I'm setting something for a US time audience, that I get it right for them. And there's a really good trick you can play, because I told you when I set my event, it's for my time zone. And I know it is because you can see down below, it says GMT +1, which is my current time zone for summertime. Well, if I want to make sure that I have a appointment set correctly for the time zone for the people that are going to be in it, I can pop up this box and I can choose my own time zone for this appointment. So if I want to do Eastern, I can do Eastern. And now this appointment is going to be set at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Now, for a lot of people, this may not be important, but for you that have international audiences around your meetings and your webinars, this is very important. And the nice thing about being able to nail a appointment time to a time zone is if there are changes because of summertime, daylight savings, and all those other changes which we have in the UK, and they happen at different times of the year than the States. There is not one time that everybody's clocks go forward or backwards. They happen at different times. It is really nice to be able to nail an appointment to a particular time. This show is nailed to Eastern Standard Time. When Eastern Standard Time goes in and out of the wonderful world of summertime and daylight savings and all those things, it will stay whatever Eastern Standard Time is. And if Eastern Standard Time goes to Eastern Daylight Time, this will move with that appointment. If I leave it in GMT, then it will move, but it will move when my London GMT Daylight Saving Time changes. And that is a different time in the month when it starts and when it stops. I'm sorry if I've gone into this rather harsh and rather heavily and spoke to you about it in lots of detail, but I promise you, when you get to that overlap time between daylight savings time and non-daylight savings time, and you are in one time zone and your audience are in another, it gets very confusing. And that's why I'm really hammering this into you. So please take note of it. Even if you don't do international ones now, when you do in the future, it will make a big difference. So when you set your time, you can then set how long your event's going to be. And remember, if you've got a free account, you can only run for 40 minutes and then you're going to be reset anyhow. And you won't be able to come back for 10 minutes. But if everybody else is paid, and please, I know money is short, but this is such a good value product. I really challenge anybody who's doing this Zooming for free. I really challenge you to look at getting a pro account. It is so inexpensive compared to what we pay for mobile phones. This is almost a giveaway. But you set your time for how long your meeting is going to be. Hopefully you've got a paid account and you're making some money for Zoom. And you have your topic, you have your description underneath. We've got the time in the daylight saving time. We then set the duration. We've got the time zone set up so that it works within that time zone. So the next thing to think about is this recurring meeting button, which is so cool. I can make a meeting reoccur. So maybe I want it to recur weekly, but I can also choose the day on which it reoccurs. So it may occur weekly, but I need to choose the day it occurs. And I can effectively reoccur multiple days in a week. I can set the time to which it ends, or I can say, oh, I only want seven occurrences, then I want it to stop. This is so cool. And this means that when people put it in their diary, they can see it's repeating. Now, after saying all of this, I've got not a trick, but I've got to make an observation about this, which is going to really, could blow your minds. This is all information to Zoom to tell Zoom when you expect the meeting, so that when Zoom sends out invites, etc., everybody knows when the meeting's being held. But I've got a little bit of advice for you, or a little bit of warning for you. You may not realize, but actually, this is, how can I put this politely? This is not really true. And yet it is true. Because this is the time that you're announcing your meeting to happen. But actually, the event link for that meeting, or the meeting link for that meeting that is generated, you can actually use it anytime you like. I'll say it again. When you set a meeting details, you can use that meeting anytime you like. If you want to start the meeting 10 minutes early, Zoom doesn't mind. Meetings can be started early. If you start the meeting late, Zoom doesn't mind. You can start a meeting late. If you start the meeting and you want to run it on a different day, guess what? Zoom doesn't mind. If you have a link, so if we save this now, and I have this link for this meeting, oh, I wish that product would disappear. I've now got my invite link, which I can send to people. I've got a description of the date and time it's going to happen. I've got my occurrences because it's going to be repeated because I've set it up to repeat. I've got my meeting ID and I've got my passcode. But if I decide to start the meeting at a different time, it will work. People can put the meeting ID and try and join your meeting at any time. Now, of course, if you're not there, nothing's going to happen because there's no meeting to join in most cases. But if you join them, if you start the meeting at that other time and they then join the meeting, you can hold the meeting. This description of date and time is just to get everybody in sync. I'm going to say it just one more time, that you can start the meeting whenever you like. So if you want to start it early, you want to run it late because you've been in another meeting, that is fine. You can do that. And I'm really pushing this point because it's amazing how many people think that if they want to start the meeting half an hour early or something, they have to come in here and edit it. Well, You do if you need to make sure that everybody knows when it is, but it doesn't have to be. You can set the appointment because this is just a guide of how your life works. I can copy this invite link, which, by the way, has the passcode, which is hidden there. It has the password. In fact, I can show it to you. It doesn't matter because I'm not going to use this. I'm going to delete it. So don't bother trying to join this meeting. But you could, if you wanted to. I hope you don't, because if you're watching this on the event, then you'd go out, you'd leave my event. So please don't leave my event to run this number. But just trust me, if you ran that and you did the passcode, you would find yourself ready to join this meeting. And if I sent you this link, the passcode is encoded. That's what PWD is. The password is encrypted, encoded in the link that I can send out. And I can see, I can add it to my Google Calendar, can add it to my Yahoo Calendar. I don't have one, but it doesn't matter. These are calendar links. And if you click on them, it creates the calendar file, which you can use to insert it in a calendar. But here are the things now about the meeting which I want to talk about, because, as I said, a lot of people are not always knowing that all these options are here. So first of all, the default for Zoom is an encrypted connection between you and Zoom for all the meetings, which stops people from trying to break in. I say trying to because I don't know of any way actually you can break in to Zoom, a Zoom meeting, unless you have the credentials of the username and the password. But this is an encrypted connection. Now, the reason it is an option to not be an encrypted connection is that some bigger corporates, for reasons of infrastructure, don't like the connection encrypted, and so they actually turn this off. But for 99.9% of us, this is going to be something we're not going to even worry about. If you have My Notes, which is the little transcribing tool that appears with Zoom, I can show you one because I've got one running at the moment. Here we are. So here's the little, this is picking up this is making a transcript of everything I say, because just to confuse you, this computer I've switched to show you these options is actually in a meeting now, so that I can show you what it's like being in a meeting, and its transcription is therefore running. So I've got the microphone open for that meeting, so it's probably recording everything I'm saying now as well. So that's the little icon you see when you do transcriptions, and it's called My Notes. Then we've got the options for the meeting chat. We can see that the host video and participant video is on. People can even dial in via audio. I've got Q&A available. You need a business account to have Q&A available, and allow participants to join at any time. So, you know, I said about the times and things. So participants can join at any time. Let's have a look at these options. So I'm going to edit the entire series. Remember, I made it recurring. So actually the changes I'm making are for all the options that I had. And guess what? We're back to where we were before in a way. We've got the topic. So again, I can come in and I can change the meeting. I see some people that do things like this. They add that. So when people look at their list of the meetings, when they go and look at their meetings, they can send out an invite, and the invite's now got the title changed to Now On, to try and get people to realize that they should have been at the meeting. That's quite funny actually for me. So we've got the abilities to go in and edit the dates and the times. We've got the time zone. We've got the reoccurring. We've got when it reoccurs, the days, and all that sort of things. Now, underneath, we got things which a lot of people don't even seem to realize are here. The first one is we can invite people. So we can type in usernames. We can type in email addresses. If I type in parts of usernames and things, they will appear in. So if I go to 3 letters, it will now look up and it finds that Dem's an invalid email. So it's trying to find people that are in my address list. This is my demo account where I've only got demo people, so it's not going to find many people. But you can invite people yourself. You can put their email addresses in here, and you can add them all. So I can have Fred@this.com. John. Anyone who owns this.com, I do apologize because I'm always using your domain name as an imaginary thing. Now, of course, it's not going to let me do that. Is it a semicolon? I can't remember what there is a way of putting multiple ones in, but it's not going to. We can add the invitees. I'll remember how I did that in a minute, and I'll show you why I don't use that very often. But you can put people's email addresses in. You can also change the registration rules. So I can ask people. Now remember, this is reoccurring. So because it's reoccurring, I can ask people to register once, and then they can turn up whenever they want to. In other words, any of the events. I can register them, and they will then have to register for every occurrence they want. Or I can allow them to register once, and then they choose which ones they're going to attend. If you don't have a recurring event, then you just have the option to be registered. If you have recurring events, then you have the option to register once and attend any. Register once for each one you want to attend, or register once and choose what you want to attend. The next thing is you can, I haven't got any templates at the moment on this account, but you can actually save your meeting as a template so that all the settings I'm going through now will be remembered, and then you can just use that and it will bring the answers up for you automatically. Whiteboard. Whiteboard is just the most amazing thing when you want to share images and share graphics in a way that you can interact. If you haven't had a look at Whiteboard, please have a look at Whiteboard. It's a brilliant piece of technology. I will probably do a whole community show on Whiteboard. You might notice that I really like it. Absolutely love Whiteboard. I can also add some documents. Again, I think you have to have the business account to do this, but I can add documents to the meeting. It's calling it an event now because it's getting posh. There's my security passcode. The passcode for the meeting, I could change it. All right, I can make it longer. I can change the number. You can come in. If you have a recurring meeting and you're concerned that the passcode's got out and people you don't want to turn up keep turning up, you can come in here and save a new passcode. That means, of course, those people who are using the old passcode are going to be in trouble, but you can change the passcode. You don't have to have a passcode though. All right, but you must have one security feature. It's no longer possible because it's too easy to break into. It's no longer possible and has not been for a long while to have a meeting with just a meeting number. You must have a second level of security. So if you're not going to have the passcode, then the simplest option is to have a waiting room. And if you have a waiting room, you can then check who the people are before you let them in your meeting. And it is possible to have people in your account to automatically bypass the waiting room because those people on your account are authenticated because they're coming in as people within your account. If you don't want the waiting room, then you have to ask people to authenticate by signing in to Zoom. So that means that the people joining could be anybody, but they will have to have a Zoom account, which at least means that if they do something or cause trouble and you reported them, they could lose that Zoom account. And by the way, for those people who think it's funny to break into other people's meeting, Zoom doesn't think it's funny. And Zoom
can and will, in cases where people are joining meetings and causing trouble, will close down their Zoom account and can even lock their machine so the machine can never be used in Zoom again, and can lock their email address so they can never join Zoom again. I'm just warning you that the things that Zoom will do to people who abuse Zoom and your meetings, the things Zoom can do are pretty strong. I mean, they really are pretty strong. So for your peace of mind and for my peace of mind, please choose one of these options. I tend to use passcode, but to be honest, I also tend to run the waiting room as well. So I have 2 levels of security. And the reason I do that is one really little cheeky little thing. Unless I have room meetings back to back, and I try to avoid that as much as possible, I might, actually I pretty much always do, start a meeting 10 to 15 minutes early. For 2 reasons. Firstly, the first reason is I just want to make sure it's working and everything's going and I can get into it and I'm prepared. But the second reason is if I have the passcode and the waiting room activated, then everybody comes in the password and everybody turns up to the waiting room and they think that's normal. But if I've got a special speaker or a colleague who's helping me with the meeting, I can then go into the waiting room, see that they've joined early, which I always expect they will do, and I can bring them in to the meeting before everybody else. We can have our conversation. We can be prepared so that when I bring the audience in, everybody else, we're ready. And again, I will always try and bring everybody into the meeting 5 minutes early than the meeting actually starts. So everybody's got a chance to get in, to calm themselves down, to know everything's working, and we can start a meeting dead on. Now, I know there are a lot of corporates, including the poor little Zoomies themselves, who run meetings back to back. And when they have a 3 o'clock meeting, they literally can't get to the meeting until 3 minutes and 1 second because they've literally just finished another meeting and they're clicking the button to join this meeting. So if you're an organization with that, you might well have an unwritten rule that you want people to get in as soon as they can, but the meeting will actually start 5 minutes after the start time. It will be opened exactly on time, hopefully earlier, but maybe it starts, the real stuff starts 5 minutes in and you have a little chit chat or a little chill out before the meeting starts. It's up to you, but you must have one of these settings set. This is the minimal setting. I wouldn't personally use this ever. I would always use the passcode. Easy to get the passcode to people who don't know what it is and they join your link. If you send them the join link, which I've got, which I had up here, remember the join link? You don't see it at the moment, but if I hit save, you would see the join link. If they have the join link, the password's encoded. So that join link will get them straight into the meeting. But I always tend to have the waiting room on as well. And I will probably set that one to select who's coming in. You see, these are the options. So can I have, now I've got to remember, you've got to get the wording here, otherwise you fool it. Select who should go into the waiting room. I have had people click on this and say, it doesn't make sense. It does when you remember. It's who should go in the waiting room. This is not who should go in. This is who should go in the waiting room. So in my case, I like everybody to enter the waiting room, but you might want to say, well, I just want people who are not in my organization to go in the waiting room. So anyone who's not on your account. So if you're a corporate and you have external people, maybe you want to use this and you can click on this button here. And that means that anyone who's not in your company and not a member of your company, so they're external to your Zoom account, they will go into the waiting room. And all your employees in your organization will come straight in. That's a great feature for corporates. I love that feature. It's a great idea to have added it. You may want to say, okay, well, I'm going to invite specific people to be in the meeting, but other people can join. And if other people are joining, I want them to wait in the waiting room first and get my people who are in my invite to join first. And then you've got this one. if you've got a whitelist of people that you allow in accounts, then you can set that as well, or users who are not in your account, which is slightly different to you not in your organization. If you are a corporate, you will understand that. Everybody else sounds confusing, but don't worry about it. I said we have the certain reasons why we want to turn off encryption. In fact, there's a little pop-up box here from Zoom which will explain it slightly, but our default is to add encryption. The next thing is going to need a show on its own. Anyone who's started using workflows, again, a fantastic feature in Zoom that allow you to automate things. You can add a workflow to a meeting. We talked about my notes and transcriptions. Here's my little my notes guy still in the meeting that we're going to show you in a second, taking notes. So we can say whether it's going to be for everybody or just your organization. Because people transcribing my notes, they join your meeting, they have their my notes running, it's taking notes for them. When the meeting ends, they keep those notes. You might not want them to keep those notes. So set the settings or turn it off completely. This is the default section of video for your host and participants. Are you an organization that likes cameras to be on or cameras off? You are not forcing people to turn on their cameras. You are showing the default that you want. So if it's off, they will be off. If it's on, they will have the chance to be on. I don't know how many people do dial in from other places, but you can get people to dial in from telephones for their audio. Most people are going to use computer audio. You can have an option of both. Quite a lot of organizations now say it's computer audio and that's it. And then we'll do the options sections in a second. Let's just do the interpretation things. So those people that are using sign language and interpreters, this is where you can enable language interpretation, and then you've got to choose the people and the language that they will be doing the translation. If you don't set up some interpreters, then no interpretation can go on, because this interpretation and sign language is being done by humans. This is not an AI doing it. This is humans. So if you need those settings, set those settings. But let's go into this, which is the one section that most people misses out. So these are the main options. The Q&A option will not be in a pro account. I believe from memory that you have to have a business account to have Q&A in meetings. So the first one, allow participants to join at any time. We've talked about in that to a degree. It is possible for people to start meetings without you. And what you need to do then really is you need to set an alternative host up. So that host can then start the meeting on your account behalf. They have to be in your account. They have to be licensed users. These little pop-ups from Zoom are so good. If you're not sure what an option is, always click on the buttons, and you often will find a link to Zoom's documents to read more about the subject. So always use these to see what's going on. So Q&A, if you want Q&A ability, then those who haven't got Q&A, I'll show you how it works in a second. Mute participants on entry. To be honest, I'm pretty much always clicking this one. I don't want people to come into the meeting, get distracted, you're talking to somebody else, and then you can hear them. It looks unprofessional from them, makes your meeting unprofessional. I will always, as a point of action, mute participants upon entry, so I can be confident they'll turn up to the meeting and not start breaking up the meeting with conversations that maybe they're not even talking to us about. Breakout rooms. You can create breakout rooms before a meeting and assign people to breakout rooms. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do much about this if you haven't got participants coming and you've listed participants. So you need to have your participants registered or add them in as a list, put them in that list of participants before you start using this, because otherwise there's not much to do, or you can import from CSV, but we'll deal with that more when we do a show, a question about breakout rooms. This though, if there's anything that you remember from this session, please, this is the one you want to remember. Request permission to unmute participants. This is the most groundbreaking feature, I believe, that Zoom has ever added to meetings. That sounds a bit dramatic. I like being dramatic, but this is the reason why I dramatically think this is so important. This option says, dear person joining my meeting, I would like to be able to control when you come on and off mute so I can manage my meeting better. Is that okay? And they will be asked, actually not as friendly as that, but they'll be asked if the host, that the host has been asked permission to mute and unmute you, and you have to give permission as a user joining the meeting to do that. That means two things happen, actually three things. The first thing that happens is that you now as the host can mute and unmute that person yourself without them touching anything, which means you can now manage your meeting because people can, and I like them to always use the hand raised, if they want to say something or you want to bring them into the conversation, rather than you saying, oh, Alan, that sounds, you've put a comment there in the chat. Alan, would you like to come off mute and explain anything? Instead of them having to do all that faffing around, you can do it for them. You can say, Alan, going to bring you to the stage so you can tell us more about that. Now, I say bring to the stage because I'm always thinking about Zoom events. But when you're running a meeting and you're wanting to control a meeting, I will often spotlight the person I want to be seen and heard. So with this automatically having the control to unmute and mute them, I can, now I've got Stream Decks and clever little boxes, but even if you haven't, whoever's controlling the meeting can now unmute that person, spotlight that person, bring them to the attention of everybody in the meeting so everybody can see them and hear them. And then when you've finished with them speaking and being heard, you can mute them and you can take them off spotlight and they join the list of people in the meeting as normal. And then if somebody else wants to speak, you can bring them to the stage by spotlighting them. Or maybe you add them to a spotlight, so it's you and them side by side. You unmute them and you then have the chance to talk with them. It just makes meetings far more efficient because the attendees can just get on with being attendees, joining in the meeting, conversing. You are, or in a really perfect world, if you've got technology to do it for you, the technology is controlling where people come to the meeting and then unmuting them. Or maybe you've got a Zoom expert admin who's in the background, who's a co-host, because they will still have the power to do it. And they can be organizing people, bring them on and off. Maybe you're controlling the meeting, but other speakers are doing the speaking. Either way around, it's really neat to have one person in the meeting who's responsible for controlling everything. Because I can tell you from personal experience that when you leave people's ability to mute and unmute themselves, and you have people that maybe are not so often using Zoom and are not so aware, and maybe they're showing something and they're trying to get a screen share going, so they're going to a document and they then can't find their Zoom window to mute and unmute themselves. There are lots of reasons why people can get distracted and can't find just that simple mute and unmute button. You can do it, or I can have a tech person in the meeting doing it for them. It just makes meetings flow so much more easily. It is a brilliant feature. You can tell because I've rabbited on for quite a few minutes about it. It is, for me, a game changer in organizing meetings. And let's remember, people don't use Zoom meeting just for, a meeting with 2 or 3 colleagues. They use the Zoom meetings for demonstrations, for presentations, for group collaborations. Zoom meetings is used at lots of level, and the ability to have one person controlling who is being seen and who is being heard is just a game changer for efficiency and making it look good. I think I've talked about that enough. Let's go through the final options. The next option, automatically record meeting. I've got a few things to say about this. Firstly, local recording is different to cloud recording. I'll say that again. Local recording is different to cloud recording. And the reason for that is local recording will record what I see. If I record locally, Zoom will record what I see. So if I'm in speaker mode, I'll see speakers. If I'm in gallery mode, I'll see the gallery. One of the reasons why I don't locally record, I often see speakers will leave their computer in gallery mode the whole time because they want to get visual feedback from people in the meeting. So they will quite often be in gallery mode. Well, if they're in gallery mode the whole time, then when they do a local recording, it will record what they see. So they'll get gallery mode recorded. Therefore, it won't be, in many cases, what you want to be in the recording. So if you want a local record, fine. But local recording is going to record exactly what you watch. So you make sure what you watch is what you want recorded. Cloud recording, there are a whole load of sets of, and this is why I've got the settings here, because one of the really cheaty thing you can do with the settings is just put the keyword you want. You see, I've done it before. And what it will do is it will go through and find all the recording options. So you can set for your account an automatically recording option. So all your meetings will be recorded automatically. And then it says, do you want them in the cloud or do you want them recorded to the computer? So that is an override to what we're doing here. That is setting it up for all the meetings. All right. I'm going to turn it off because I don't want it to at the moment. So we can set to record locally or in the cloud. So if I choose in the cloud, of course, you're going to say to me, well, what's it going to record, John? Well, the answer is in your settings. So in cloud recording, there are lots of different places and ways the recording can be. I will probably end up doing almost a show on this because it will take a good half hour to go through all of them and show you examples. Let's just say that for now, I have a ridiculous number of options. You don't need this many numbers of options to be recorded, but you want to set up your cloud to record what you want to record. And you have this saved first. And by putting in the word recording, I've got all the recording options out of the settings for me here. See, even who can delete recordings and who can see recordings, etc., etc. So I can record to the cloud or I can automatically record. I would suggest to you that if recordings are important to you, I would put this on by default because, as we always say in the events world, you can always delete a recording you didn't want. You can't bring back a recording you didn't ask for. So automatically recording meetings could be important for people. Don't forget that even if I set automatic recording on and I start my meeting and it starts recording, I could then consider stopping the recording. But I will warn you, certain settings stop you from stopping the recording. Still no worry, because if you don't need it, you can delete it. And by the way, the other little side comment we'll make in recording is people are concerned that the storage limits for a pro account are quite small. And if you record a lot of events, you will use up your cloud recording storage very quickly. But if you don't need a meeting, delete it. And be consoled by the fact that if you delete a recording in your Zoom account, it stays in the deleted box for 30 days before it is removed. Do not hold me to exactly 30 days. because some people do and then they're a little bit too late. So consider a deleted recording available for 14 days. So what I'm saying is record everything. If you don't need the recording, delete it. If you then find a week later you did need the recording, you can undelete it, do what you want with it, and then delete it again. You have, I'm going to say 28 days because it's easier for people to go, but I would not leave a recording in that long. I would say, I would tell everybody, and I would, if you ask me, I always say 14 days because I want people to make use of the recording or get rid of it. Why do you put it in the deleted box? Because there's one little trickeroony advantage, clever little thing, the way Zoom set this up. Your deleted recordings don't count for your recording limit. So if you are concerned that you'd have recordings left over, don't worry about it, because if you've got them in deleted box, they don't count to your limit. So 2 more options. The first one is we can block countries that you don't want to be involved, or you can allow countries. And I suddenly realized why my friend from Canada can't join my test meetings, because I've got it set to only allow people from the UK. So there we are. Even I've learned something today. So you can either have an allow list or a block list. Obviously I was showing this off to somebody at some point, and I changed the allow list to only the UK. So Mike, if you're listening, this is why you couldn't get into some of the meetings I ran recently, because I locked it only to the UK. See, even I'm learning something today. And the final thing we're just getting up to the hour, so I've just about done this in the time. The final thing to show you is this button here, which is my second biggest game changer of Zoom. And as the mute participants thing actually happened last year, this is probably the biggest one from this year. And this is really difficult to explain in simple terms. So I might just show you that. But let me explain you in my own words, if I may. Zoom is concerned because many people are concerned about people recording stuff, meetings and etc. And people are concerned and would like to stop it. Now, got to be honest with you and say, actually, you can't stop it. If I'm on a meeting with you and I am on your screen, I can't stop you recording. Let me finish this before you start to question this. I can't stop you recording because I am being seen on your computer screen. So anybody standing in front of your computer screen can see me. And if you got out a camera or a mobile phone, you could capture that image of me on that screen. So I cannot absolutely stop you recording me in your meeting or you in my meeting, because you can always take a picture, take a video of the screen that you're watching. So an absolute recording stop is impossible. However, what I can do is make it harder for you. And that's what this option is about. This option has only come in the last month, so make sure on the latest version of Zoom for it to work. What this does is it sort of scrambles the signal inside the computer. I'm not going to explain it any more than that, but that scrambling effect that it does means that if somebody tries to capture the video in the computer, so if they try and use screen scraping software, screen recording software, or anything like that, This option, if I click this, those tools will not be able to capture the screen. I can't stop you getting a mobile phone out and capturing the screen, but if it's a product of software on the computer which is trying to capture the screen, that doesn't work when this is enabled. So this doesn't stop everybody. This doesn't stop everything. But those tools out there which are trying to copy presentations with screen capture software and stuff like that, this stops the screen capture being captured. I don't think it does anything for the audio. I think the audio would still be heard, but you can stop that. And I can tell you from the complaints and the problems and the issues we've seen in community forums, there are bad actors out there, nefarious people who've been getting into meetings and recording stuff, taking screenshots, taking pictures of people without their consent, and external to the organization doing it on the side. Not good. Don't like it at all. Zoom doesn't like it either. This is the best Zoom can do. Everybody's got to be able to see the screen, so we can't stop the screen being watched or photographed or videoed. But fortunately, there is some tech in Mac and Windows now that Zoom can take advantage of. And as I said, it sort of encrypts the video signal to the screen. So if other screen capturing software tries to capture one of these, and you have to set it, then this will save you from doing that. We've talked about the alternative hosts. We've talked about the languages. So if I save that, those are the main settings set for my meeting. What do we have left that we didn't cover? Well, remember I had an attachment. So there's a tab for the attachments I added. Remember we talked about registration? Here's the information about the registration. And you can see I've got a pop-up box for this. So I can automatically approve everybody, or I can approve them manually. So you can stop people joining. If you register and you don't want them to join, you can approve them. I can have it send an email to me to tell me whether or not somebody's joined. I can allow registrants to come from multiple devices. So they come from their phone and they switch to their laptop, or they watch their laptop. So you can turn that. You can restrict the number of people to register for your event. I've got a big account, so it's set me a ridiculous number of 1,000. I can have social share buttons to show my registration page, which is going to show you in a second. I can have the join info on my confirmation page, because quite often when people register, they won't remember stuff. They won't get the email. So if you have your join info on the confirmation page, when they register, the confirmation page will include the link to join. But in some cases, you may not want to do that. If you turn it off, they've got to get the email. If you want to add extra questions for your registration, there are a set number of questions which Zoom has, which are the default ones. You can turn on the ones you want, and then you can click on the add question thing and say, oh, by the way, it reminds you, you can't start picking up credit card information, but you can ask questions for your meeting. So maybe you want to ask the questions in advance. You can say that, and then they can add that when they register. That's how the questions work. Email settings. You can edit who's going to get the email and where the confirmations, and you can preview the email. It's been sent to me now, so I'll get an email of it, and I can also change it. What you can't do is you can't rewrite the email, but there are certain places like here and here and here at the bottom where you can add text. So all the traditional Zoom stuff happens in the middle. All the address, all the times and the meeting joins, and if you've got telephone join, how to join by telephone. But you have the chance to change the subject. You've got a bit there before you get the links. You've got a bit for the body at the bottom so that you can edit it. Now I want to get rid of that. We have some very basic branding, and it's still quite useful. Polls and quizzes. Now you can edit some polls and quizzes, create them before the meeting so that you don't have to do them in the meeting, or you do in the meeting. You can have a survey at the end, participant survey, or send to a third-party survey product. You can choose to live stream to a meeting. You can even say, when we run out of the number of people, those people left can be sent to live stream. And then we've got the Q&A options. If you have Q&A, you will understand these options. You can set whether people can ask questions, whether they can be anonymous, whether they see all the answer questions or the questions, or where they see all the answer questions or they see all the questions which they can upvote and comment on. And that should be the end of it. It is good. I remembered that bit. That's always good. So I can go back to the details and I can now save this. I can start this meeting. I've already saved the bit I've done, so that's okay. I can start this meeting, or I can save it as a template, because I remember I said you can use a template in the future so that you have all your settings set. You can keep using it. If I don't want it, I can delete it. If I want to edit it further, I can hit the edit button. I can copy these invitations so I can attach it to somebody, message it to somebody, email it to somebody or whatever. I'm going to delete this message because I don't need it. When I delete it, remember I've got a whole load of reoccurrences here. So I've got the choice to delete the reoccurrence I'm editing, which I think was the first one, or I can delete the entire series of them. And there they are. They've gone. I'm back to my one meeting. The rest have gone. And that, guys, has taken a whole hour to explain, but there's lots in it. As those that might have heard the intro, and those that might not hear the intro, this is going to be repackaged up, and I will break down all these little bits into little snippets so you can watch the entire Zoom Community Champions live about meetings here. It's just over an hour long, or maybe just under an hour with the theme tune. Or they'll be on the YouTube channel as shorts, all the little bits that we've done. Thank you for all participating. I haven't seen any big questions I haven't needed to answer, but that doesn't stop you, if you're watching the recording, to give me some questions there. And I will make sure that we've covered that as well. Thank you for those people in attendance for keeping me on brand and reminding me of things. No one will ever know you helped me, but I'm thanking you anyhow. That is exactly what it's all about. Yes, I was still here the whole time, wearing my lovely Super Champion t-shirt. Thank you, Zoom, for my t-shirt. Thank you, Zoom, for giving us this account to demonstrate on, because I really wouldn't have wanted to do this live in my own account. You can understand that that would just have been too much of a privacy risk. So we have this demo account for doing it. Thank you, Zoom, for giving us that to work on. Thank you for watching and listening. I look forward to seeing you on the next. Every Saturday, we will run a Zoom Community Live. And if I can find the closing theme tune, I will play that to you. I think I have. If you want to see anything else that Lord Zoom gets up to, have a look at go.lordzoom.com. I have a feeling, because I didn't check it, I have a feeling that this list of events on the closing screen is probably out of date now. But of course, over time, it's always going to be out of date. So just have a visit to go.lordzoom.com and you'll see a list of all the events that I run. I hope one or some of them will be of use to you. And if not, I really look forward to seeing you, whether you watch me live or recorded, for the next Zoom Community live show. Thank you. And from me, John, otherwise known as Lord Zoom, have a lovely day. Would you like the theme tune again? Of course you would. Sing along, guys. Here it comes.
Here's a strong first draft anthem for the Zoom Community Forums and the new They type it in the forum, hoping someone sees. Then voices from the community bring answers with the keys. Not just a help desk, not just a screen. It's people helping people with every tool between. Zoomers, users, hosts, and guides all standing side by side. When we share what we know, the whole room comes alive. We're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Hey! Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving, helping ideas thrive. So raise your hand, jump in the room. There's always more to learn. In the Zoom community, we help the whole world turn. Sometimes words are not enough. A screenshot shows the way. Sometimes it takes a live walkthrough to make the problem fade. The forum starts the story. The live room brings the spark. From how do I fix this, to now I've hit the mark. Employees with the product, users with the need, champions with experience, all helping others lead. No one knows it all alone. That's why we gather here to listen, learn, and pass it on with answers loud and clear. Yeah, we're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving, helping ideas thrive. So raise your hand, jump in the room. There's always more to learn. In the Zoom community, we help the whole world turn. From meetings to webinars, events and rooms as well. From where's that button to stories we can tell. Every question matters, every answer grows, because the more we share it, the more the community knows. We're building it together, one question at a time. In the Zoom community, where every voice can shine. Hey! Every other Friday, we bring the answers live, with demos, chats, and problem solving, helping ideas thrive. So bring your questions, bring your wins, bring the things you've tried. In the Zoom community, we solve them side by side. Ask it, share it, show it, solve it, learn it, build it. Zoom community live. Ask it, share it, show it, solve it. Every other Friday, we bring the forum alive.
Yeah. We bring the forum live. But remember, it's Saturdays now. Can't edit the theme tune. Doesn't work that way. But it's every Saturday. I will see you every Saturday. Lord, Zoom will be here for the community live. Thank you, guys. And good night. I need to find the button to disconnect you.